Hello again from my front porch. I am here with my very dear friend Angel Dean Collins, and Angel and I we go quite a ways back. I don't even remember actually. Was it in Atlanta at the ATD conference or ASTD conference?
Yeah, way back when ATD was ASTD.
Yeah. Well, so Angel here.
It was Atlanta. That was my first conference with ASTD.
I think it was my first conference too.
Was it?
Yeah.
That's right. I think a million years ago we realized that it was both of our first years, and you were on that chapter board.
Yeah, I was on the chapter recognition committee. I was chair of it at the time, wasn't I?
Oh,
maybe not.
I don't know.
Well, because I got to be on NAC the year that I
yes,
chaired
that was it.
And so
the National
Advisors
to Chapters.
So you get the idea that we've known each other. We met each other through ATD, which is now called. But unlike other ATD people that I've actually had on the front porch, who are fellow training professionals who do all of that stuff for a living, and they're out there on the chapter boards and all this kind of stuff. Angel's affiliation with ATD was a little bit different.
Yeah, not a trainer.
Yeah, but she could be. She's got the skill.
Well, technically informal trainer.
But she actually was executive admin for Tony Bingham, who is and still is the
President and CEO
of ATD. I got to see him in Salt Lake City here just back because they moved the conference, of course, to September this year because of COVID stuff, and it was a very compressed, smaller, weird feel, but still a good conference. But I ran into him out on the street walking back to the hotel, and we said hi.
He had a birthday recently, and we're both October babies.
Me too.
And so I message him, and then he messages me. We do an annual check-in in October, and I get the lowdown on how the conferences went and stuff. It's it's a very intimate position. An executive assistant working with an executive. It's a very intimate relationship, other than not in a sexual way. But
realistically, you become very familiar with a lot of stuff nobody else knows.
Yeah.
Or very, very few other people.
Yeah. You get to see behind the curtain of not only the person at business, but also a bit behind their personal lives.
Yeah.
So it's, once those bonds are made, I don't like to break them.
Yeah. Well, and I don't blame you because those are good people though. But then she has had a long and illustrious career in that vein. I mean, honestly, I don't know what you did before ASTD, but since ASTD, since you left there, you've worked for what, the Bush Institute, working for one of the ambassadors there.
Yeah, the George W. Bush Institute, which is part of the George W. Bush Presidential Center. And that was basically a startup. And so I was one of the first hires, and we got to bring on all of the policy experts, and God, talking about amazing. Got to meet people from all over the world.
Who was the ambassador that you'd worked directly with?
James K. Glassman, and he was an ambassador of a country, Lola's hair, but he was given the title of ambassador as an undersecretary of state.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so, but then you also worked for, there was the Asian group?
Well, after the Bush Center, I went to work for the National Park Foundation.
Oh, that's right. Forgot about the Park Foundation.
And I was there for a couple of years, and that was an absolute dream job. And I got to travel to a lot of national parks and see some amazing places, and work with some amazing people on the celebration of the centennial of the National Park Service.
Cool.
And then I went to the Eurasia Foundation.
The Eurasia Foundation. That's what I was thinking.
That's Eurasia Foundation. And I was there for 4 years.
But when she says she got to work with some people on some of these celebrations, no, she actually got to coordinate the planning for some of these things, and
yes.
Because I want to be clear, her duties as an executive admin, her skill and duties were not just oh, I'm getting coffee for this person, and I'm pushing papers to the person.
I don't get coffee.
No. She's up here at the planning level and the implementation of strategy level, and and really, I mean. You hear about, the movers and the shakers. Well, sometimes it's not the figurehead face, it's those behind the scenes who are doing the moving and shaking.
Putting all the pieces together, and I've well, a few years ago, basically after the Eurasia Foundation, I decided that I was going to no longer support the patriarchy, that I was very tired of making a bunch of old, incompetent white men look really good.
And yet here she is on my show.
Yeah. You're not incompetent.
But she didn't dispute old. Notice that.
No, I won't. No, I've definitely entered the last half of my life. I turned 50 last year in the pandemic.
But doesn't she wear it well? Look at this.
I have very good genes, both of my parents. My God, what do? You cross yourself and you talk about people you don't want to die anytime soon. They are in their late 70s and they look great and they're doing great. So I'm very blessed with good genes.
But so you have had a lot of, and I'm not looking to unpack your whole resume and stuff, but that's Angel. That's not now. That's professional Angel. I've also over the years got to know personal Angel, and personal Angel and professional Angel are like complete opposite angels, that's really an adventure too.
They can be quite different.
Yeah. But
a little bit of dichotomy in my life.
It's okay. It's a good balance. But here's the interesting thing. In here, and now what's it been? Has it been just the last couple of years that I'm transitioning to your new endeavor?
Yeah. So
she made a change. Now,
I made a change before. So I had worked in nonprofit, because I'm always that not a clock watcher. If I'm going to work, 10 to 12 to 14 hours a day for something, it's gonna be for a cause that I care about. I most of my career is in the nonprofit world, and basically I got to a level where nonprofit really couldn't afford me anymore. And so I went to corporate.
She's that good.
Yes. Yeah, I'm that. I was that good. I am that good. I went to the corporate world where I had kind of, I guess, what I would call the dream job of the corporate world. I was leading a team of admins. I was hiring and training and introducing admins to this whole new world. With a global technological electronics company, and it was a completely different thing, and it was absolutely amazing. I'd never worked with a truly global organization, trying to coordinate things from Hong Kong to I'd worked with it internationally before, and certain, and sending
like
people.
ASTD was international.
But coordinating global HR team calls and meetings and organizing, bringing people in from all over the world. It was a big step up of my game, and I excelled at it. I killed it. It was wonderful. Everything was great. And then we had layoffs, and I got laid off.
But speaking as somebody who's been laid off 3 times in my professional life, now the first time that it happened, I panicked and I ran to the next job that seemed but I was younger. I had a family to be taken care of, all that kind of stuff. And
being without a job is scary.
Yeah, it is. But getting yourself into the wrong job
is scarier.
Can be even scarier. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. But then the next 2 times that it happened, I took it as more of my impetus to really self-evaluate, to ask myself, okay, what is it I really want to be doing, and then how do I pursue getting there? And And my pastor, he made the observation with those subsequent jobs, I'd get laid off, and then the next job I'd go to would actually be a step up, and more money.
Yeah.
And my pastor said, he was one of the only people I knew who could get laid off and turn it into an advancement opportunity.
Yeah, something better.
But it wasn't. I don't think it's intrinsically because of Paul's so great. It's because I focused, because I stopped and considered, what do I really want to do, and then I threw myself into getting that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that's my segue into, you got laid off, and you're like, oh crap, what do I? And you did something very similar, except in my case, I evolved my focus as a training professional. Didn't really leave that broader perspective of where I was at, just a little more niched, a little more focused. You broke the barriers down of your professional life and rebuilt from the ground up.
Rebuilding.
Or still in the process of rebuilding.
Yeah.
So talk about what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, if you don't mind, I want to throw one extra piece of information in, and I think it's important because it's part of the process, right?
Yeah.
And God, what was it? Well, a few years ago, I got laid off from Eurasia Foundation, and it was the first time I'd been laid off from somewhere before. But I knew it was coming. I knew that we were, low on funds, and I knew that my position was expendable, and that's what happens with nonprofits that could be run better, right? So I knew it was coming. I was part of that decision-making process, and so it wasn't a surprise. And I took the time off, and I had decided that this is like, I'm ready to go gangbusters now. Like I'm at the top of my game. I am capable of so much more. And so I went balls out and went corporate, right? And so then I had this great team, and I had these admins, and I this great opportunity.
And you proved that you were right. You could do it.
I proved that I could do it. So then, McKinsey's coming in. We all know, when McKinsey's coming in, some heads are going to roll. Some people are losing their jobs. It's just a thing. Anytime McKinsey comes in, it's happening. So we all knew it was happening, and being in HR.
Rough having that reputation unless you enjoy it. I don't know.
Well, and I even knew the day that it was happening. I just did not know that I was on the first round. So I was caught off guard. And this is 2 weeks before the pandemic shut everything down.
Wow.
So at that point, we had heard about this virus, but at that point, we had no evidence it was in the U.S. It wasn't on our doorstep. It wasn't, we were paying attention to it as a global HR team because we have teams in China and Hong Kong. So it was something that we were aware of, but it wasn't something that we were really making decisions about locally. And so I came home with some severance, and I turned into Fix-It Lady, and I fixed everything in the house.
Yeah, you made some really, because we're friends on social media, you made some really cute and attractive pieces of furniture and things.
Well, and then of course, in the first couple of weeks, it was just kind of like catching up on the honey-do list. But then, in March, everything shut down and everybody came home. So my daughter, who was living with us at the time, came home. My husband came home. And the interviews that I had set up for, and I was going for more gusto. I was interviewing for chief of staff jobs and direct board relations jobs. So I was looking to get out of the direct support, the EA, and look to take that next step. And I had interviews, and they all dried up.
Oh, because COVID shut everything down.
COVID. No one knew what was happening. No one wanted to hire anybody, and it was weird. And so I was like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna fix up furniture, because my daughter was moving into a new place, and so I'll help her do that. And then the other daughter was moving, so I'll fix up some furniture for her. And then one evening, before Mother's Day, my older daughter was born. right around Mother's Day. And so Mother's Day is always super special.
Of course,
for, you know, we
For
celebrate both. You know, my first daughter made me
yeah.
a mother. It's about Mother's Day. So we do special stuff at Mother's Day. And I thought, well, I'm gonna go to the flower wholesaler and I'm gonna do some flowers for her. Because, you know, I've been doing flowers on the side for about the past 5 years. And, you know, I've always enjoyed arranging myself, but, you know, I kind of got serious about it. And, you know, people had been asking me to do some commission work from time to time. And it was just a hobby, right?
Yeah.
So I always, you know, and I made
Just
plenty
a
of money. I didn't need anybody to pay
Yeah.
me for it. I just enjoyed doing it. And then I would just ask, just cover the cost of the flowers and
Yep.
I'll make it real pretty for you.
Uh-huh.
And it was fun and something to do. It was a gift that I could also give my friends. So I was like, hey, I think I'm gonna go to the wholesaler tomorrow and pick up some flowers and make some for Parker for Mother's Day. And my husband said, well, you know, I bet a lot of people might want you to make flowers for them for Mother's Day.
You think?
So maybe you should
Keith
post.
is a smart guy.
It's at 10:30 that night.
I'd have Keith here on the video too, but see, he's just so tall, he wouldn't fit in frame.
No, he's
a big guy.
up here. Yeah. He's really tall. But yeah, he was like, you know, hey, why don't you post on social media? And so at 10:30 that night, I said, hey, you know, I'm going to, if you want Mother's Day flowers, let me know.
10:30 Friday night before Mother's Day.
No, Thursday. This was Thursday
was that
night.
close
This
before?
was Thursday
oh,
night.
wow. I was just joking like it's that far close. Okay.
Because I was going to go Friday morning. And so I get up in the morning and a couple of people have replied. And so I go to the wholesaler. And by the time I get home from the wholesaler, I've got enough orders that I have to go back to the wholesaler again. And then I had a couple more orders. So Saturday morning, I had to go back to the wholesaler again.
Wow.
And I had over $1,000 worth of business in the first weekend.
Teaching.
So I just thought, all my friends have just been waiting for me to go into business.
They've been like, well, not all of them. Some of them were like, well, darn, she did it for free before.
Yeah.
And now I got to pay her.
Yeah. Now I'm broke and you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So was that the first time you really thought I could make a business out of this? Or had you pondered that at times before?
No, I definitely pondered it before. My husband and I have always had, you know, since we started dating, we've always talked about having our own business. And that's, you know, over the past 21 years we've had together, we've always talked about having our own business. And that business was always a B&B, not a B&B, not a B&B, an Inn, an Inn.
Like on Newhart.
An Inn. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah.
Bob's awesome.
Larry, Daryl,
call
and
me
Daryl.
Julia
Yes.
Duffy.
Yeah,
Stephanie does nothing. She just looks cute. So it, you know, that was always the dream for us. And then when I started doing flowers, it was like, well, then I could do the flowers for the events, right?
Yes.
I can do the flowers at the hotel or the inn.
The inn.
And I can do the flowers for the events. And then I started noticing on Instagram all these flower farms, and then it was like, okay, well, then now the inn becomes like a farmhouse. The inn is on a plot of land where we can do outdoor weddings, and I can grow flowers, and then, you know, so this dream is just morphing and it's becoming different things. Say hi to Phoebe. And so in there somewhere, we made space for it to be okay for the dream to change. And if
pretty soon it's turning into a Collins compound.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything.
Yeah, the Brophy Collins compound, Casa Key Buzz or something. So it just, I don't know. It's like we've allowed ourselves to let the dream change and morph.
Well, I think that's important though too, because I mean, if you had started, let's say when you guys were first together, you both said, "Here's our dream." You were both like, "Oh, I have that same dream." But you know, as the years go by, you know, we change, we evolve as people, and you know, the dream has to evolve as well.
Yeah.
So that makes total sense.
Yeah.
And now Keith should mention he's had a very admirable career in the hospitality industry, and he's in marketing right now, which means, of course, as her business takes off, she has built-in marketing support right there. But it's not like he
talks like Google Analytics and
one of those guys.
I don't. I'm just like, honey, just I make it pretty. He does the numbers parts.
I have to say though too, she's no slouch herself. She's been around the block a time or two when it comes to marketing and promotion of things.
Yeah.
And in fact, when we were setting up for this, I'm ready to do my thing with my phone. Hold it in my hand. Okay. So, Angel, let's talk. And she's like, and I said, man, she goes, she did this whole thing. She, isn't this pretty here by? She set this all up so that we could be out here in their backyard and talking about this stuff. And I said, oh, wish I'd have brought my tripod with me. And she goes, oh, I got a tripod. And I said, oh, like with a clip thing for the phone on it and everything. And she said, hello, I'm Angel. Have we met? Have we?
Who do you think I am?
So she has this nice setup right here. Now we have the whole big light circle we're not using because we don't need to. It's
not yet.
Nice
I think we probably should turn it on soon.
Well, if we keep jabbering for much longer, we're going to need to turn it on pretty soon.
Yeah.
But well, hello, and then here's the third one.
This is Bella.
She has 3 dogs. So.
I have 2. The third is my granddaughter.
Hi, Bella.
Yeah, this is Bella. She's like 8 or 9.
Oh, you can kind of just see her nose.
11. She's 11. I think she's 11 now.
Bella's been here in every visit that I've made here. So.
We got Bella the first year we moved here, so we've been here 12 years. So in January,
wow,
she's 12 years old now. In January, we will have her for 12 years. But yeah,
cool,
pretty awesome.
Well, so you're enjoying this new gig, huh?
Yeah, it's been a very interesting journey. I immediately started my own business, and so I was just going to be doing stuff from home, and that's when we were all still kind of in lockdown.
We got a chopper. So let's you mentioned, and so now you started your own business with doing this. So what's the name of your business?
Well, the name of the business is Efflorescence, and the thing is that I started the business with the intention of building it into something. And then in the last year, I've gotten a lot of experience in the industry, and I have retooled it a little bit, and I've changed kind of my mind about how I want to operate. In the beginning, I was being more of a retail florist out of my home. So I would buy inventory, and people would call me, when people had birthdays. And I had a couple of orders or a few orders every week, or, it was pretty steady for a while. Okay. But then I went and ran a flower shop for 6 months, and I got a really good idea of what it would be like to have a brick and mortar retail.
First-hand look at it.
Yeah, and I decided that was not the business model that I want. Yeah. And number one, from the sustainability aspect, my values, I value eco-friendly options. I do believe that we are doing damage to the world, and that there are things that we could do to do less damage on it, to make life better for all of us. And there are many vulnerable populations who are going to suffer, and if I can do a little thing here and there to do that, then I'm going to. So I've been a religious recycler for years.
Well, that's good. But with that mentality, everybody's like, what are the big things? And there are big things that we can do on topics, but sometimes it's not a question of what's the big thing, that the magic wand that fixes the problem. It's if everybody does what you just described. If everybody does just their little contribution to it, if everybody was doing that, then the problem wouldn't be anywhere near as big as it is.
Exactly. Yeah. And one of those things that you can do is become an educated consumer. And I think we think about being educated about a lot of things that we use, but we don't think about where our flowers come from.
I would not have thought about that
Yeah,
myself.
most of the flowers that your local florist is getting are actually being imported in from South America or Europe or Asia,
travel well.
Australia. Yeah.
Must put
So
them,
what
like, big
happens is
refrigerated containers or something?
there's a very long process. They're raised on massive farms with underpaid labor in South
Of
America,
course, yeah.
Colombia, Ecuador, and they harvest them. They cut. Of course, they use a lot of chemicals to make them grow, and the fertilization and the
grow quick and
pesticides
colorful
and big and bold and
Yep,
beautiful, right? We all love those long stem red roses. Well, there's a lot of chemicals in those long stem red roses. So they grow them, they cut them, and they give them chemicals to be dormant, to go to sleep.
Oh.
Because it's going to take them days to get here in shipment. And we've been talking about, you've been hearing a lot about supply chain issues.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Well, there have been supply chain issues for imported flowers as well.
They are not immune.
And, you know, last year I had flowers, and it was happening a lot in the industry, that flowers were sitting on loading docks for days. And then by the time they got to the florist, they were just crap. You know, so what you gonna do? So there's a long process. Then when those shipped items come in, then they're given more chemicals to stay quiet and until they get to their last intended place. Then when they get to the florist cuts the bottoms and pumps them full of chemicals to wake up, and then keeps them. So by the time that you get them,
You're buying drugged up flowers.
you're buying drugged up flowers with tons of pesticides and herbicides on them.
Wow.
And they've already been cut like a week. So they're, you know,
So, Angel,
they don't last as long.
you have a solution for this? You
I
have
do.
you have a better way that you recommend?
Yeah.
What is that better way?
Local, sustainable, organic flowers. So having a sustainable bouquet means having most of the items in that bouquet that are locally sourced. Now, not everybody's got local flower growers near them, and I understand that. And that's actually a problem that we've had in the DC area, is that there are not enough local growers in this area to supply everyone who wants locally grown flowers. And I found this out last year when I was doing research for how to get locally sourced flowers. And there aren't just a lot. I mean, there are a lot of new, smaller farms around, but they're very new and they're just getting going. So I have become friends with some of those new growers.
Of course you have. Building your network.
Yeah, building the network,
Which is
building
another
my
thing
supply
she excels
chain.
at.
Building my supply chain, because I want to be able to feature the flowers. I can't feature flowers I don't have.
Yeah.
Right? I can't use a product that I don't have. I can't get my hands
have
on.
you been seeing a lot of success with using your local supply chain, and how, what's the response from your clientele?
Well, I've shifted, so I don't do regular retail anymore.
Oh.
Because I don't want to keep an inventory on a regular basis.
Okay.
You have to be able to keep all of that generated. So I only do special events with my personal business and special orders. And then I also do some freelance work, and I do some freelance at the Virginia Florist, and I have gotten them to consider using, and now have signed up to get locally grown flowers.
Awesome.
Some of them organic and sustainable, and some of them not, but that's okay. At least they're local.
Moving in the right direction.
Moving in the right direction. So that is a high volume florist who is actually looking to buy more local.
Cool.
That's a win. That's a win. Changing minds and hearts. That's
not just your own business, but convincing others now to start moving too.
And then there are a lot of people who do come to me just for that, because I do use local stems, and I've got the connections to get them. And then I've also been working with Grateful Gardeners, who they are a husband and wife team. with their own flower farm, and they are a sustainable and organic flower farm. And I have been working with them to do all of their bouquets and mason jar arrangements for the farmers markets on weekends. And then
which they then sell.
Yeah, they go to one farmer's market, and then they've hired me to go to the other farmer's market. And Keith and I go out and we do the farmer's market on a Saturday, and it's so much fun. And it's really fun when we have a flower bar and people can come over and look at all of the flowers, and I can talk to them about each one of the flower stems. And I love doing it with kids, because then we have this really interactive process where they can touch the flowers, and we notice all the little details, and we talk about, you know, what makes them special, and then we make a bouquet together. And so I've got a little 5-year-old girl who comes and makes a bouquet for her mom each week, and women who come just to treat themselves. You know, they say the flowers last, you know, a full week, and they're really happy with them, and they love the bouquets that I customize for them. So that's been tons of fun. That's going to end in the next couple of weeks as the growing season ends. Because here we are, it's, you know, getting closer and closer to the frost point. And then I'll go into preparation for the holidays and doing things for people's Thanksgiving tables and Christmas decorating. And actually, I've already started preparing for Valentine's Day.
You probably already have some customers lined up for these things.
A couple, yeah.
And you will have more.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to get a hold of you to, you know, inquire about having you sign up to work for them, well, before we even get to the information, what is your radius? What is your what area do you cover? How far are you willing to provide your services? Will you come to Des Moines, Iowa, and do flowers?
Actually, I could do that. Have snips will travel. There are a lot of
for
things
the right price.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually done that a few times. I've done a wedding out of state. I've done some parties out of state. I find a local wholesaler that I can source from, or a grower in the area, and you know, I show up with buckets, and I can do on site. So that is a service I offer. I know you threw that out there as a joke, but it actually is. You know how photographers travel, I travel too.
I've learned I have to stop making jokes with any joke. I mean, we joke and laugh about it several times, but when I throw out something that I'm intending just to be a smart alecky comment, she's like, as a matter of fact.
Really? Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah.
But in general.
In general, staying here, I live in Springfield, so
Virginia.
Springfield, Virginia. That's Northern Virginia. I deliver and I work at places here in Northern Virginia and DC. There are places that it's like on the other side of DC that are harder for me to get to. So my delivery gets a little pricey because
it's not that you won't go other places. It's that they may not want to pay.
Yeah, it may be cost prohibitive, but if I have the time and you have the money, I will go, because I know that not everybody does flowers the way I do. And that's one of the things my customers say, is that, you know, my flowers are unique. You're unique in that they're thoughtfully sourced, but also that the style that I do is a little different than you get from a regular florist.
That's awesome. So now we get to the meat. So how if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and actually explore having you transform whatever their event is through the beauty of your floral arrangements?
Oh my God.
how would they go about getting a hold of you?
Well, that's a great question. The best place, I think, to follow me and the work that I do, and also a really good way to contact me, is via Instagram. So I'm going to give you 2 handles, right? One is me, Angel's Vase, because I sing, and vase is voice in Spanish.
So if you want flowers and an entertainer.
Yeah, I do it all. So that's ANGELSVOZ. That's me. So I post my flowers and some of my freelance work there, also some of my lettering, my gardening. I've posted a little bit there about my homegrown cannabis. But if you want to follow my cannabis excitement, my growing, my home growing cannabis, that's Angel Grows Weed at Cannabis_Angel.
So the underscore is between the words.
Yes.
Okay.
It's Cannabis_Angel.
All right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I haven't put a lot of content. I haven't put any content there yet. That's coming. I've recorded a lot of content this growing season. I've got a lot of stuff to put there. And then my floral business, which is the sustainable floral design and furniture refreshing, because I do that too, is Efflorescence. And I've recently become aware that my Instagram handle is misspelled.
Oops.
When my husband, the digital marketing guru, set it up, he misspelled it.
Oops.
Yay. So
he didn't have a business card.
Yeah. So if you search for Efflorescence, that's EFFLORESCENCE. But just do EFFLOR, and then you'll see this come up. Efflorescence Designs.
I'll take a picture and put it in.
Yeah. That it'll be me, and I'm so sorry.
So on Instagram, there's just one F. Is that what I hear?
No, there's an E in here. There's an extra E thrown there in the middle somewhere. Efflorescence.
I'm gonna put it on the screen. So
yeah, you can do that. Efflorescence is the scientific word for the process of blossoming.
Oh.
And so when I saw that, I was like, wow, that's it. That's the word. That's the name of the company. I know it's hard. It's not very memorable. It's just the name of my LLC. It may not go forward. I don't know, but
so to lock in the name, Efflorescence.
Efflorescence.
So you said it's the scientific name for the blossoming. Use it in context, like in a sentence. How would you use it? Or is it just a term? Finally, a question I could stump her on. There you go. Okay. Would you say something?
I would say something like maybe like efflorescence takes place in the spring.
Okay. So you wouldn't like be looking at an individual flower that's starting to bloom and say, "Oh, look, it's going through its efflorescence."
Yes,
or
you would say that.
You could say that.
You could say
okay.
that. Yeah.
Right. So there you go, boys and girls. You've learned a new word today.
Efflorescence. Yeah. It's just that it struck me, this whole process of here I am at 50. I spent the first 25 years, trying to be my parents' daughter, you know, and then the next 25 years taking care of my kids and raising them into adults. And now at 50, here I am, and I'm blossoming into something.
Oh, your efflorescence is amazing.
Oh my God!
See, you like that?
Yeah.
See, now that I know the word, I can use it.
It's funny because it's used with concrete.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Then you'd think I would have. I would
think you might note it. It's actually when there's like a bloom on concrete or limestone or something on some kind of stone, and that's also referred to as efflorescence. It's used in the construction.
Something every day.
It's just crazy.
Well, Angel, I have appreciated the chance sitting down to chat with you. We actually have not had the opportunity to visit for years. Actually, several years.
It's been
now.
a long time.
And it wasn't just COVID. It's like even before that, it had been a while. Because you'd think that since I work for a company that has an office here in DC and I've had to come here frequently, that would mean that we'd be able to cross paths all the time. But no, either I've been busy or you've been busy or we've both been busy. And so this time
there were times you were in town and I was traveling.
Yes,
we were crossing planes.
Yes. But this time it worked out, and so thank you for opening your home to me again and inviting me over. But for right now, though, thank you for chatting with me about that. I'm really excited for this new chapter that you're pursuing, and from what I can see from the stuff on these social media places, from what I can see, I mean, you're doing fantastic, beautiful arrangement stuff. In fact, even here on her back patio, she's got this table thing up. She hosted a little party recently, and it was just a little party of people she personally knows. You know, they're coming in. But I mean, even just that was like this just exquisite, beautiful display. And so it's like I said when we started, I would have never. I don't know if I said this on camera. I may have said it before. But the angel that I knew, you know, even though she was this dichotomy, you know, the professional angel and the personal angel, and could be really different between those two, I would have not pictured Angel the florist or Angel the flower arranger or the whatever descriptive term you want to use. I would have never pictured that. However, now that I've seen what you're producing and I hear you talking about it, and I see the sparkle in your eyes and the passion in your voice, it's like, of course she's doing this. She's natural. Yeah. So kudos to you.
Thank you. It's amazing. I wouldn't have imagined it either, you know, that many years ago. It's amazing how sometimes your passion finds you. You just have to kind of be open to it. And I, you know, now these days, I never want to go back to an office again. No. I never want to go back. You know, I think about it. And I'm like, no. There's never a bad day with flowers. There's never a bad day. You know, I work on my feet. I work long hours. I get wet, you know, from all the sloshing of water around. But, you know, when, what is it? Like when nice you're, at the end of the day. Well, not always. Not always. I feel like I always have dirt under my fingernails. But it's not, there's never a bad day doing what you're passionate about and what you love.
There you go. That's thank you for coming to Angel's TED Talk. All right, but seriously, we'll wrap this up. I do appreciate you chatting with me, and I'm so thrilled and happy for you to see you. I mean, yes, this is an obvious pun, but it applies to see you blossoming in this way. It's so incredible to see. And so now we'll wrap this thing up. I'll let you go, and I'll let you all go too, and I'll see you all next time from my front porch.